Hey YouTube, let's talk about opportunity costs and some of the opportunity costs we go through when we're investing in silver and gold, because there certainly are opportunity costs out there. I probably should start with what actually even is opportunity cost. So opportunity cost is a economic concept that when we purchase with our dollars certain things, we are not going to be able to purchase other things with those same dollars. So once we actually make a purchase, we're having to give up something else, and that is a cost to us because we could have gotten that something else instead. So that is what we would consider an opportunity cost. And how does that work into investing? Well, if we're choosing to invest in some of this beautiful silver or gold, we are not going to have the opportunity to invest in other things, like for instance a business. Maybe it's going to be real estate, maybe it's going to be stocks, or maybe even bonds. So that is how it plays into our investing strategy. And let's talk a little bit about some of those opportunity costs, because I think it's easy in the stacking community to get wrapped up and only see the benefits in precious metals. And there certainly are a ton. I mean, it's safety, it's peace of mind, it's a hedge against inflation, it's a hedge also against dips in stock prices, because precious metals are inversely correlated with the market. At least that's how it's been historically. That's not necessarily, past performance does not, necessarily guarantee future returns. So that's not going to be always the case necessarily, but it's held true in the past and it probably will hold true again in the future. So let's talk about some of those costs. So I mean, probably the biggest cost, and the one that, people that are very, very pro stock market, and, I'm certainly in that camp. There's definitely a place for stocks in all of our portfolios. The problem is that, if we're buying all this precious metal, we're not going to be able to buy stocks that pay higher dividends, or I guess pay dividends at all, and we're not going to get those gains. So we're missing out, even though, you see that gold price has been shooting up recently and silver's kind of lagging behind, but I think silver certainly has, lots of potential for gaining further. But we are going to miss out on those dividends, that payments that stocks will give us. And also, in terms of like growth stocks, we're going to miss out on a lot of gain in the actual cost of the stock as companies reinvest in themselves. So that's probably the biggest thing, is we're missing out on those higher gains as opposed to investing in stocks. Now, what we gain from that is we gain a lot of peace of mind and knowing that, if things do go crazy or things go bad in the stock market, we are protected. We're not having to necessarily worry about those things because we have a hedge against them in our precious metals portfolio. So I think along with, some of that as a downside, we also have to kind of be on our toes when it comes to investing in precious metals, because it's not, a set it and forget it, put it in the brokerage account, and you never actually have to think about it. Because owning precious metals isn't something that you can talk about with everyone. It's certainly, something you want to keep kind of on the down low. As guys, we love talking about, oh, how's our stock performing? It's water cooler talk. It's something that you can talk about with your coworkers. It's something that you can talk about with the family. But this is something that you want to avoid doing when it comes to precious metals. You can't be talking about how you own a bunch of gold and silver, because if it gets out there, then all of a sudden you become a target for burglars and other kinds of crime, and people, if something does happen, well, you'd become that first person that they're gonna want to talk to. So that's another downside in, the fact that we can't necessarily be as open about our investments. And that's unfortunate, because it's always nice to be open about what we're doing. I think another downside to owning precious metals is we kind of lose that simplicity. I kind of do miss the days before I got into investing in gold and silver, when I was in fact able to just plain and simply put all of my money into one index fund, call it a day, and over time, you'd let that index fund grow and grow and grow. And, that was a super simple way of investing. As opposed to having to keep up with multiple things, whether it's silver and gold and different places over multiple locations. And that can be kind of a headache to have to manage, as opposed to having one simple brokerage account that you can log into. So that's another downside or opportunity cost that we have to deal with when we're talking about precious metals investing. I think that one maybe good thing, and one cost that I would throw out there for precious metals, is that we are sometimes willing to make extra sacrifices to buy beautiful coins such as these, as opposed to simply buying, a generic share of every little company in the United States stock market. Because I'm not gonna lie, after some years, it becomes harder and harder to really get excited about buying that one more share when you already own 100 shares. And that's something that, can be difficult to overcome. And sometimes having a beautiful coin that's coming out every year can be something that's really, really nice and refreshing to do, because it'll be a way to mix it up and something to get you excited about investing again in another year. So those are a few of the different costs that I would say that go into owning precious metals. Now, certainly we like to push back on this channel against solely owning precious metals, and I think that there's definitely a huge portion of your portfolio that should be going towards stocks, and also a portion of your portfolio that's right in front of us here in the precious metals, because they each have a role to play, and it's all about finding that role and what's appropriate for you, because there are going to be costs, whether it's holding dollars, whether it's holding silver or holding gold up at the top there. There's costs to each one of them. There's pros and cons to each one of them. And for your individual portfolio, you have to decide and figure out exactly what is going to be best for you and your family. So it is always beneficial to sit down, write out your goals, and try and figure out exactly what portfolio would do the best for you and your family. With that, I hope you found this video informative and hopefully you gained something from this video. If you did, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Take care.